going on, my people? This is your host, Blanche, eating with Black Trending News. Tonight, this is episode 33, and we're going to be talking about politics. I know I've said in the past that I'm not going to get into politics, and I'm not going to get into politics tonight, but I am going to talk about politics. I'm going to talk about some Blacks who are benefiting from supporting Trump, who is our current GOP president. I'm going to also be talking about other political parties that you can vote for if you don't want to vote Democratic or Republican. There are other ones. There's so many, but I'm going to be covering about 6 or 7 of them tonight and what they stand for. I want to get into some individuals who are in those political parties that maybe you can research and learn about. Does your vote really count? I want to talk about that as well because I've said it in the past myself, personally in my life that my vote doesn't count. A lot of people feel this way. They feel defeated. They feel like it's bigger than them, and no matter what they do, their vote's not going to count, and they don't bother voting because of that. So we're going to get into a little bit of that as well. So let's get started. The first Black person that I want to talk about that supports Trump is in fact the only African American in his cabinet, and his name is Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, who is the Housing and Urban Development Secretary for Trump. He worked for decades as a top neurosurgeon in Baltimore, and he has in the past normally supported Trump regardless of the racist or offensive comments that he said to people who are opposing him, or maybe somebody he just doesn't like, and so forth. So back in July of this year, President Trump attacked a Democratic Republican, Elijah Cummings, on Twitter and suggested that his district, which is majority Black and includes parts of Baltimore, is a very dangerous and filthy place. He also blamed Cummings for the city's problems. In the wake of a backlash, Trump doubled down, saying people in Baltimore are very happy that he's bringing out the fact that it's like living in hell. Oof. And of course, Ben Carson has to back him up. He's, to me, I'm not very political, but I think that Trump is his boss and he's not going to challenge him. So I think Black people should not expect anything from someone who works for Trump. Like, why would anybody expect him to oppose Trump when he works for him and he cuts his check and he put him in that position? So I think Carson may feel grateful, oh, thank you for putting me in this position. I'm going to be good and I'm going to do my job. He says, this is what he says to, soften the situation. He faced, quote, dilemmas over sending children he operated on back to neighborhoods in East and West Baltimore where there were rats and roaches and mice and ticks. So that was his response. Ivanka Trump at that time had supported Baltimore, but she didn't condemn Trump's remarks as well. So again, all of these people work for him, so we cannot expect anyone to oppose him because they will probably lose their job. So apparently, there are people in the world, right? We know this, that care about their jobs more than they care about people's situations, words, racism, topics of importance. That they don't care about stuff like that. They care about their job. That's their priority. That is their center, and that is who they are. They identify as that position, and they do not allow anything to change that. They don't want anything to come in between who they are, who they identify with, and that position that they've been given. They feel like they've been given this position. I have to cherish it. Why would I do anything stupid to not have this position tomorrow? Who will I be if I oppose this man, right? So when reporters asked Carson if Cummings was responsible for Baltimore's conditions, Carson replies and says, "I'm not one who likes to sit around and point fingers at people." All right, so again, no clear answers. Everybody just kind of like dances around the elephant in the room and keeps it moving, right? Keeps their job. Carson said that he spoke to the president over the last couple of days at that time about what they can do for Baltimore, and said that Trump is, quote, willing to work with the people of Baltimore, including Cummings, to improve the city. So another reporter asked Trump, would Trump pay a visit to Charm City? And Carson says, I would love for him to come and, first of all, just tour and have the opportunity to see things that work and the things that don't work. I would like for the president to actually express his heart to the people the way he has expressed it to me. I think sometimes he feels that he's going to be treated so hostilely that he says, well, maybe I don't even want to go there. So he's defending Trump in the sense that making an excuse for his words that he uses. And according to this, Trump has never even been to Charm City. So, well, it doesn't say he's never been there, but they're asking if he would pay a visit to them. And I have to make a wise guess and say Trump has never been there, as he's described it as a filthy hellhole. He probably has not been there, right? So to call it those things and say those things and then not even have a chance to experience the city for yourself, this is the country that you are the president of. So to me, you really shouldn't be calling any place in your country hell, because it just it comes back to you. It's like, well, you're the president, and then there's all these other political figures underneath you, and then you're blaming somebody. So it's like, it's not my fault, it's his fault, but everybody's under the same umbrella. It's like if I go to Target, for example, and I have an issue with the the cashier, the management, everybody's wearing the same red shirt. So it's like everybody is kind of responsible, or very much responsible, for my customer experience. It's the same thing. Or any other retail store that you would go into. It's the same concept. Carson has also suggested that the current political climate of all this animosity all the time has hindered efforts to work on community development, and that the greatest threat to America is divisiveness. Okay, no shit. You know what I mean? So, I feel like these people are, they know what to say and know how to kind of keep it moving and not they don't say anything that can interfere with their job. They don't say anything too controversial. They just kind of put a nice piece of tape on it and keep it moving, and state the obvious, right? Like, everybody knows that America is divided, but when you say racist things and you allow, you change laws that are dividing the country, then, and you work right under the person, it just doesn't make any sense. He also goes on to say, this is the level of which we have sunken as a society. It's so important that we stop this madness. We have some threats, but it's not China, it's not Russia, it's not North Korea, it's us. And whether we can learn how to work together and realize that we're not each other's enemy and that we have a job to do here. Again, it's like, but what are you going to do? You do have a job to do. That you've been given the position as the housing development, blah, 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 housing and urban development secretary. But what are you doing? All you've stated is that there's a job to do, but you're not stating what that job is exactly, which to me implies that you don't even know what to do, or you don't have any plan on doing anything because you're not saying it. It's like people just interview and just say, yeah, this is what we got to do. And, it's not this, and this is how we can be together. It's just putting a pretty Band-Aid on it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. That's just one interview that he did. Let's get into the more intense individuals that support Trump. To me, Ben Carson he's more of a less threatening black person that is supporting Trump. Really quick, Ben Carson benefits for being a Trump supporter. It's his job. He gets paid. So he gets paid to not dirty anything and keep everything kind of neat and pretty while this continues. So his benefit is just to have a job. He's doing his job. He knows what not to do. He knows how to play it safe. And he's not, to me, in my opinion, really doing anything. He's not bumping elbows with anybody. He's just not getting bruised or making any sacrifices to really do his job, right? So he's just benefiting from a paycheck, if you ask me. But another one I want to get into, these two women. I've never watched one of their shows, but they're called Diamond and Silk. And they are YouTube personalities. Lynette Hardaway and Rochelle Richardson, otherwise known as Diamond and Silk. They are big Trump supporters, and they have been featured at his rallies. Now, Diamond and Silk, they've benefited from exposure. Like, now that they are Trump supporters, they're like really, really famous.
Well, speaking of leaving alone, they better leave elections alone. Seems to be some election manipulation.
Yes.
So, for 2 years, the left, the Democrats, and the lame stream media have been lying to the American people. And this is our personal belief.
Yes.
This is how we really feel about this.
Our personal belief.
They have been literally selling us a pipe dream and a fake hope.
Right. And I think they've been doing it deliberately. This has been really deliberately, and I think it's been almost 3 years now that they've been doing it. But go ahead.
And please understand that Democrats have been selling this pipe dream that's been full of lies.
Yep.
And they sell it especially to Black Americans. And I know I got to be some Black Americans on here. I even got probably some Black trolls on here.
Yes.
We love you, but we have to educate you.
We got to educate you. So listen up.
So I keep hearing whenever we call out the Democrats, how they were the party of KKK, the party of Jim Crow, the party that wanted to keep slavery, you always hear about, well, the party switch. Okay?
Yes.
And that's one of the Democrats' major lies.
Yes.
Claiming that the party switched.
Yes. Because you got to remember one thing. Back then, Lyndon B. Johnson.
Come on.
Lyndon B. Johnson. See, it was called the Southern Strategy. Okay? And they strategized.
Come on.
Okay? On how they was going to get power. And they looked at how Black people were voting Republican.
Wow.
Okay? They saw that. So what they did is strategize based off of the Black man stance outlook on different things.
Right.
And said, how can we get Black people to vote for our party?
Right.
Well, they came up with this clever way.
Come on, girl.
Give them stuff for free. Let's give them all of this here and say they're going to get this right here when really, technically, they're not going to get all
So
this
give
stuff.
them enough to keep them quiet, but not enough to make a difference.
There you go.
Okay.
And how he said, I'll have those ends voting for me. How long?
For the next 300 years.
There you go. Because they strategized on how they was going to use Black people to make sure that they have power.
Right.
Okay? And if you look at it today, they still use Black people
that same tactic
to make sure they keep power.
Wow.
All right?
Wow.
They using your Black bodies. Okay, go ahead.
They're from North Carolina, and they've been to Capitol Hill. They've been to the State of Union. I mean, these women have done some big things. They have a lot of people backing them up. So these women are getting a lot of publicity. They're on everybody's radar now. Like them or not, the pair have made it into the public consciousness. So they've been involved in some controversy. They're largely known for their YouTube videos, which feature them commenting on the latest, often Trump-related news. It says here Diamond does most of the talking, while Silk chimes in with a couple of that's rights and a couple of yeses. And this is according to Vox.com. Their job is to uncritically echo whatever it is that the president needs them to say. They've amassed 1.7 million followers on Facebook and 1 million on Twitter, and their YouTube videos have racked up millions of hits. In an interview with Fox and Friends in April 2018, President Trump described the pair as warriors. They've visited him in the Oval Office and campaigned for him in 2016. And right here on their Twitter page, back in 2018 in March, they said here with their own words, just so you know, we will always have our president's back. Don't get it twisted. So again, another set of Black women, which have a lot of influence in society. Black women, in my opinion, have the #1 influence in society. Right? What is the saying? Everybody wants to be Black until it's time to be Black, right? Everybody, likes to wear their hair. The Black culture is very inspiring. A lot of people look up to it. And they're just another set that are benefiting from supporting Trump. They're getting famous from it. Their name is traveling. They're probably making a ton of money on YouTube. And they were opposing Trump at one time. So he took his enemy, who was his enemy at one time, and turned him into his closest friends, right? Which makes a lot of sense. They're former Democrats turned Trump-supporting YouTube stars. Prior to their Trump-propelled stardom, Diamond and Silk were lifelong Democrats with a YouTube channel called The Viewer's View, which they said in the 2016 interview with Rolling Stone was a place to talk about the things they didn't like. But whatever those early videos were, they're largely gone, replaced by a series of pro-Trump hits. You can still find some remnants of Diamond and Silk pre-Trump on their YouTube page. There's a Black Lives Matter video commenting on Sandra Bland, who, everybody knows the story. It's very hard to talk about, but she was a young black woman who was found hung in her jail after being arrested during a traffic stop, and her death was ruled as a suicide later on. They quote here saying, we probably had, 10 people watching our YouTube channel? Okay, 10 people, right? So compared to that, now they've switched over. They're no longer Democratic. Now they have millions. That was the trade-off, so those are their benefits. And it looks like they're on board. They're on board with it. They probably signed a contract that says they're not going to back out of it. So maybe they can't change their minds if they wanted to. I don't know. I really don't know. I have to imagine there's some type of, paperwork in place saying that they can't just at any moment, all right, you can't take your millions and millions of viewers and just leave us whenever you're ready. You got to stick this out, I'm sure. It says, but in August 2015, they posted a video after the Republican presidential primary debate where Megyn Kelly asked Trump about his past treatment of women and description of them as fat pigs, slobs, and dogs. Quote, maybe you should go back and report news for Sesame Street, Diamond says, and accuses Kelly of taking a low blow. The video has now been viewed 1.7 million times. Quote, we were all on the Trump train from the beginning, and when we watched the debates and we didn't like the questions that Megyn Kelly was asking, we spoke out on that, and that went viral, Diamond told the publication. And from what my memory, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, Trump doesn't like Megyn Kelly, I believe. So I think and somehow this benefits the president. During the 2016 election, the pair switched parties so that they could vote for Trump in the North Carolina primary. They put up a website with information for others to ditch and switch from Democrats to Republicans. The site also lists information on first-time voter registration. So this is an old article, but still very relevant. Voting is taking place next year for a new president. And you see the influence that political parties have. Before I get into other political parties you can vote for, I do want to touch on one more who is the individual who is, primarily the reason why I made this video, because I couldn't believe some of the things that this person was saying and how close they are to the president. My goodness. So stay tuned. I'm getting ready to get right into that individual. Let me see if there's anything I want to cover on Diamond and Silk. A quote by them says, it's time to wise up and take a chance on something different, because what we've been doing for the same thing, we've been getting the same thing and getting the same results. Silk said in 2016 in an interview with Complex about her support for Trump over Hillary Clinton. Only a fool would fight in a burning house. You do what you want with that. And after that, they took off. Trump trotted them out during both the Republican primary and the presidential campaign. At a December 2015 rally in North Carolina, he brought them out on stage. They became an internet sensation. I hope you've monetized this, he said. Do your little routine. Okay. So they're pro-Trump and they benefit from it. So in my opinion, blacks that benefit Trump are gonna benefit. Because, one, I think he has the lowest racial count in history, and any blacks that would get on board with him, they're going to benefit because there's not many as it is. So they're just a rare diamond in the rough for him, and they're going to have a lot of influence next year. So definitely going to get into other political parties and options that people may have if they don't want to vote Democratic or Republican, right? So moving along, Bruce Lavelle has been backing up Trump since the early days of the GOP primary campaign. Despite his racial inflammatory record and his non-favor with blacks, he was attracted to Trump's stance because Trump, I guess at the time, was helping small businesses, and he's a Georgia jewelry store owner. Became executive director of the National Diversity Coalition for Trump, advised Trump on issues, and advocated for him on TV. So again, the benefits, right? I'm a business owner. I'm a small business owner. Now I work for someone right under someone who is going to help a small business. To me, politics, again, this is probably a given, but politics is all about washing each other's hands and benefiting each other. And what can you do for me? What can you do for me? Even after audio tapes revealed Trump discussing kissing women and grabbing their genitals without consent, Lavelle did not waver. His support remained at, quote, 1,000%, 10,000%. I'm very optimistic. I'm positive. I still think Mr. Trump's going to bring great leadership, end quote. And a lot of these people come out of Georgia, and I believe Georgia's a Republican state, and the South is basically Republican, and well, we know why. The South was big at one time, very big for slavery. So, I'm not going to get into that. But you probably have a very good idea of why the South is mostly Republican. So what keeps these African Americans, siding with Trump, right? And this last person, I'm telling you, is worth the wait. Many of their arguments are the same reasons blacks have supported Republican candidates in the past. They believe conservative political philosophies will best help African Americans. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I think they benefit. Again, I've read you the benefits and how they're reaping them greatly. It also says here several have family members in the military. Some are sold on Trump's promise to create jobs, secure the border, and prevent terrorist attacks. I don't think any of those have been happening. Maybe jobs. The border, I haven't kept up on how the border is secure, and preventing terrorist attacks. I have not seen anything but an increase of terrorist attacks by the own American people. So I'm not sure what they're referring to. Others, though, exist outside of the professional political class with the little allegiance to the GOP establishment convulsed by Trump's slash and burn campaign. If anything distinguishes this group from black Republicans in prior campaigns, it's their willingness to overlook or minimize Trump's transgressions. What others see as disqualifying, they attach little importance to. And it's because they are benefiting on the side. The paycheck, the publicity, the interviews. Oh, look, everybody's looking at me now. Now I'm a star. The amount of media attention, that is very addictive for an individual who was once a nobody, a small fry. None of them are jumping ship. Michael Barnett, who is a member of Trump's Diversity Coalition and chairman of the Republican Executive Committee in Palm Beach County, Florida, says, I plan to vote for him and campaign for him because I believe keep the country secure. That's more important to me than what he said to Billy Bush 11 years ago. People, there are other things going on in the world besides the border and fucking jobs. You know what I mean? People can get jobs. People go out and they can get jobs, and securing the border, I can't see how that affects people's everyday life. Please let me know in the comment section if immigrants are bothering you or if they're imposing on your life. I have not come in contact with someone who is an immigrant, and God knows, I don't even know how they've affected me negatively, how they're taking people's jobs. A lot of people argue they make, they work for cheaper wages. That's not the immigrant's fault. That is the employer's fault. That is an issue with the employer who is hiring it. And maybe someone needs to have a talk with the employer that's doing that. I don't think that has anything to do with the immigrant. How is that the immigrant's fault? They're not hiring themselves. Moving along, Lavelle goes on to say he wants to make one thing clear. Our motives are very pure. We ain't trying to get no hookup. I want Donald Trump elected, period. That's all I want. I believe in my own heart he's going to fight for small business owners, period. He told you with his own mouth. He ain't trying to get no hookup, which means he's all about a hookup. He cares about small business owners. Everybody's in it for themselves. What if you're not a small business? What if you're a single mom? What if you're black? there's no unity in politics. It's either somebody always has to lose. Says the 52-year-old married father of two is a former chairman of the Gwinnett County Republican Party outside Atlanta and the son of an Army sergeant major who served in Vietnam. He started in Republican politics when a friend invited him to stuff envelopes for Ronald Reagan's presidential campaign. At 20, Lavelle began working in a jewelry store, opened his own store in 1993, and says he became a millionaire by age 31. There you go. There you go. So these are the blacks that are supporting Trump. One last good one that's supporting him. All right, so this is the gentleman that really shocked the shit out of me. Yeah, I know. This gentleman's name is Clarence Mason Weaver. Oh boy, do I have a lot of quotes. He's just said some real crazy stuff about women, and I here he is posing next to Trump. So, and he's black. So here we go. He says, "We don't care how smart you are. We don't care how strong you are." He's referring to women. He's Trump's advisory board member. Or one of them, I guess. He says, "Women should strive to be handmaidens and stay out of the workplace." Right. And he also says, it says here, right-wing pundit and recently announced Trump's advisory board member Clarence Mason Weaver has said that women aren't equal to men and that they damaged society when they won the right to leave the home and go to work. He has claimed that women who report sexual misconduct at work are the reason why we don't want to be around you in a business. And he has told women that they should carry themselves as handmaidens and be submissive. It gets worse, okay? So please have a seat. The Trump campaign recently launched its Black Voices for Trump coalition with President Donald Trump speaking at a rally in Atlanta, Georgia. The campaign also announced the members of its advisory board, which includes numerous right-wing media personalities such as radio host Herman Cain, Fox Nation hosts Diamond and Silk, and Fox News contributors Deanon Borelli and Alveda King. The campaign lists the involvement of Clarence Mason Weaver, who usually goes by Mason Weaver in media appearances, and also lists his name as Clarence A. Mason on his website, a right-wing author and purported motivational speaker. Seriously? This guy's a fucking motivational speaker who speaks like this about women, his own mother, his wife? Weaver has made numerous appearances on Fox Business and Fox News over the years, including Tucker Carlson, Tonight, Fox and Friends, and Trish Reagan Primetime. He attended the coalition launch in Georgia and posted on Facebook that he got to meet the president and shake his hand again. He also met Lara Trump. One of Weaver's philosophies is that men and women are not equal. In a recent video about the subject, Weaver said that women shouldn't be queens because we do not look for queens. Queens is hard work. We look for handmaidens, sweetheart. We look for a helpmate out here, girl. And no king is looking to share their kingdom. He later suggested that if a woman isn't as strong as he is, she should be quiet and be humble and be submissive. You've got to fucking be kidding me. This is a goddamn joke. His views on male and female contributions to society are summed up in a January video description which reads, "Men have created, maintained, and developed every social improvement in our history. The current attack on masculinity, led by feminists on their weak beta male enablers, are attacking the very men because they hate our society. It is time for aggressive masculine men and the women who love us to answer." What? On his website, he wrote, "Women have won their right to leave the home and go to work, serve in combat, no draft, serve in government, and crack nearly every domain once controlled by men. So ladies, how are your children doing? Your lack of family time, raising and nurturing them, has done great harm to them." In a video, Weaver criticized the idea that men like educated women, stating, "We don't care how great you are at work as the coworker. We don't care what kind of career you have or what your college degrees are. That's not why we marry you, woman. That's not why we don't care." You know something? Reading this bullshit makes me fucking sick, and I fucking believe it. I believe that there are people in this world, and I'm not going to say men, but people in this world who think like this. I've come across people in my life that I personally feel have these type of ideas and perspectives on women, but can't vocally say it, but their actions show that they feel like women are beneath them and should not even have a fucking opinion. I have been there and fucking done that, and I think a lot of women have experienced it. This is some of the most disgusting shit I've ever read in my life. It pains me to continue to read it, but I'm going to, so let's keep going. Okay. Similarly, in a May video criticizing women for allegedly being so masculine, Weaver said, "We don't care how smart you are. We don't care how strong you are. We don't care. It is masculine. You look like a dude. You talk like a dude." This person is in political power. And I'm sure there's hundreds just like him who agree with him. They all sit around and stroke themselves profusely, right? He's also pointed to women reporting sexual misconduct in the workplace as a reason they shouldn't be there. Weaver said in a December 2017 video that women in the workplace use their sexuality, taking advantage of their sexuality, taking the offers of sexuality, and these women will come out against you guys. He then complained that a woman who was competing against a male for a promotion can tell a manager, "So and so molested me. So and so made a comment." A comment now. Folks, you can't even say the wrong thing, hurt their feelings, and that guy will not get the promotion and no one will know why. Women are setting themselves up to be so fragile that we can't even blow on them without them coming against us. So who wants to hire a female now? Whew, my goodness. And he's married. I don't know. He later added, "Ladies, you do not want your husband working with a female in your office nowadays because 30 years later, you may have a problem. Overall, false reports about sexual misconduct are actually very rare." In a similar video, he said, "We're not predators, we're not rapists, but we're aggressive people. Do we make you nervous because we're strong and aggressive? We're loud. I'm loud, but not mean. Somebody frightened some woman, and 20 years from now she'll say, 'Mason made me feel uncomfortable with him. That's why we don't want to deal with you. That's why we don't want to be around you in a business. That's why we really can't trust ourselves to be with you because you have the power of the accusation.'" This is his words. These are his words. After the Access Hollywood tape in which Trump says "grab them by the pussy" was released, Weaver said of Republican critics of Trump, "Every man talks like that, every man thinks like that, and stop quivering behind the skirts of the feminists." People, I can't make this shit up. If you don't believe me, go to Media Matters for America. .org. MediaMatters.org. They are I believe they're a publication, media people that question the media. And these are news outlets that you also need to be reading, not just your main 5, 11, 7, 4, 2. You need to be going outside of that because you can learn a lot. All right. Like this. You can learn about shit like this that we will probably never see on national TV. And if we do, you better believe it's because they want to take him down so somebody else can come and take his place. It's usually some shit like that, My gosh, that was some of the most disgusting stuff I've ever read. I want to get into the next thing. I had no idea that was going to take so damn long. Other political can't even talk. Other political parties you can vote for, right? American Independent. They believe in liberty and justice for all under God. They want to keep America independent and safe. They'll protect the family, marriage, and work. They believe in individual responsibility and free enterprise. They obey the Constitution and promote Declaration of Independence principles. Their top priorities is to protect the right to life and strengthen families, secure the border and enforce immigration laws, balance the state budget. They currently have 397,000 members, according to easyvoterguide.org. You can find more out about this party at www.aipca.org. Another political party, the Democratic Party, which most of you know, but let's talk about it again really quick. Democrats believe in the role of government is to provide quality education for all citizens, protect their rights, including a woman's rights to choose, and ensure a stable, prosperous, safe nation with a strong, expanding economy benefiting all Americans. Their top priorities are expanding jobs through economic reinvestment, improving access to affordable health care, and ending wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. They currently have 7,553,000 members. You can also learn more about that party at www.cadem.org. The Green Party. They stand for peace, social and economic justice, nonviolence, grassroots democracy, respect for diversity, women's rights, and protection of the environment. Greens advocate valued practices that protect the planet, its people, and promote peace. They have only 113,000 members. Their priorities are living wages, healthcare, education for all, clean energy and environment, election reform, and accountability. You can learn more about them at www.cagreens.org. The Libertarian Party is your best choice for reasonable government. If you're socially tolerant and fiscally responsible, you're a libertarian. You, not the government, should decide how to run your life, checkbook, education, and family. Increase individual liberty and responsibility, shrink government, reduce taxes, liberate education, commerce, and personal choice. Those are their top priorities, and they have one of the least amount of members, only 87,000 members, and you can find out more about this party at www.ca.lp.org. The Peace and Freedom Party. They stand for equal rights and a good standard of living for everyone. They want to protect our earth, promote peace, and defend the rights of the people of this country. They practice democracy and cooperation. They use their country's wealth to make life better for everyone. Their top priorities are bringing all their troops home now, providing good jobs at higher pay, taxing the rich to give health care, housing, and education to all. They have the very, very least amount of members at 57,000, and you can imagine why, right? They want to tax the rich to give health care, housing, and education to all. So there you go. They could be found at www.peaceandfreedom.org. And the last political party, the Republican Party, is committed to improving the quality of life in every part of California. That's what I said. We are working to achieve this by creating jobs, they say, improving schools, keeping communities safe, and improving the state's healthcare and environment. Very general, nothing specific. Their top priorities are promote an economy that creates new jobs, reform education and pension systems, protect taxpayers, force government to be accountable. Really? They have 5,228,000 members, which is the second, highest political party under the Democrats. More can be found out about this party at www.cagop.org. So even though they are focused on California, they have a big set of members underneath them. So definitely look into those other political parties, learn about them. Unfortunately, I feel like the country's divided already because these political parties are so divided. So there's just diversity. Diversity is not bad. Diversity is not bad. I don't think there's it's very important to have diversities. I think the word divide can come off negative, but it doesn't have to be. It could be good. Diversity could be good. It just depends on what's going on. Okay. And does your vote really count? All right. Let's get into the good stuff. Does your vote really count? All right. According to bustle.com, your vote always counts. And that's even more true in the midterm elections than you think. Midterm elections are direct elections, which means you directly cast a ballot for the candidate of your choice with no middleman. The candidate who racks up the most votes wins. And you would think that's how all elections work, but it actually isn't. And that may be part of why some people get the impression that their vote doesn't count. So there are indirect elections as well. In an indirect election like the American presidential election, the voters, that's you, cast their votes, and then a group of officials cast their votes, and those votes are the ones that really decide who wins. That's how in 2016, Donald Trump was elected president by the Electoral College, even though Hillary Clinton won more votes nationally. That really sucks, but that's not how the midterms are. Right. This isn't the case in midterm elections, where whoever wins the most votes outright wins the race. That means that a tiny number of votes can make a vast difference. For example, in 2014, Republican candidate James M. Kelcourse defeated Democrat Edward C. Cameron for a seat in the Massachusetts House of Representatives by a margin of just 10 votes. And in 2008, Alaska Republican Mike Kelly kept his seat in the state legislature by beating Democratic candidate Carl Castle just by 1 vote. Okay, so that's the only way my vote matters. Yeah, pretty much. Voting is also a crucial way to let politicians who are in office know how you feel about their performance and policies. If the majority of people in the district vote for a candidate who has promoted a certain issue, then that's a sign to other politicians that people care a lot about that subject. And if they want to be in office, they should too. Your vote is your choice when it comes to politics, and it's important to make your voice heard. Those are the most straightforward reasons that your vote counts, but there are many more. Your vote is your voice when it comes to politics, and it's important to make your voice heard. If you feel strongly about anything, voting is your chance to do something about it and make a difference. The right to vote is one of the most fundamental elements of democracy in the United States. You're just that important. Don't pass up on the opportunity to prove it. There you go, people. I can't make this up. So when it comes to the presidential vote, there is a middleman, right? That's really sad. I haven't thought about the solution to that, unfortunately. I haven't said, what do I do in that case? I had a conversation with my sister one time, and she said something that really struck me. And it was similar to what I just, read to you, was that even if my vote doesn't count, they're going to know. I want them to know what I think. I want them to know how I feel. So if you want people to know how you feel and your outlooks and what should be important and priority, then vote. If you care more about who's going to win, that's up to the Electoral College. And the only way you can get into the Electoral College is by, I guess, getting a good education and being one of those people in the Electoral College. Have a good night, and thank you so much for listening. Please share and like this video. Subscribe for more videos, and have a great night. Bye-bye.